Hello and welcome our broad viewers to RTD's News English edition. Tonight for the highlights, we got Prime Minister chairs pandemic review meeting, steering committee, COVID-19. A second meeting of the Statistics and Methodology Program Committee, Djibouti Institute of Statistics. And on the international scene, Italy requests the help of neighboring countries. Fires in Sardinia. Those were the highlights, our beloved viewers. Welcome back. His Excellency Prime Minister Mr. Abdelkader Kamil Mohammed chaired this morning at the People's Palace an important meeting with the steering committee in charge of combating COVID-19. The aim of this meeting is to assess the progress made in managing the COVID-19 pandemic throughout the national territory, after noting the positive effects of the COVID-19 vaccination process, steering the Djiboutian health system and combating the third wave of COVID-19 that started in the countries of the world. In his intervention, Prime Minister Mr. Abdelkader Kamil Mohammed affirmed his firm support for the pandemic management community, calling on all residents to receive vaccination, especially young people, to respond better against the Indian Delta type of COVID-19. Because the vaccination rate is still low, 30,000 people for a population of about 1 million is very low. The meeting witnessed the participation of members of the government such as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Defense, Minister of Health, and Minister of Interior and the Minister of Communications. Yesterday, Sunday, at the Sunny Hill Center in Arta, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, sponsored a ceremony honoring the top general, vocational and technical high school graduates for the academic year 2020 and 2021. The ceremony took place in the presence of the Minister of Energy in charge of National Resources, Mr. Yunus Ali Gedi, the Minister of State in charge of Decentralization, Mr. Ghasim Harun, and in addition to the local and international partners of the Ministry of Education and a large audience of teachers, students, and their partners. In his speech, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, expressed his congratulations to the top students, stressing that they are reaping the fruits of their efforts, hard work, and perseverance today. He added, "You must follow the same path of hard work and vigilance during your university studies." At the end of the ceremony, the first high school diploma in its various scientific, literary, and artistic departments was honored. In his speech at the ceremony, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training expressed his satisfaction with participating in the ceremony dedicated to honoring the top high school graduates who successfully passed the secondary stage and excelled, praising the efforts they made throughout the past academic year to achieve this excellence. Mr. Mustafa Mahmoud continued by saying that this generation is one of the fruits of the public debate on educational reform that the country witnessed in 1999. And in light of its outputs, education is the government's priority, as it's the backbone of the economic and social development process in the country. The national television camera monitored the participants' impressions and reactions after the conclusion of this occasion to honor the top general, vocational, and technical high school graduates. Let's watch.
It has been very exciting. There was many people here, and it was an interesting. We have taken part very greatly, and I appreciate the people who organized it, and thank you very much for it. And also thank you to my teachers and to everyone who is going to hold this great ceremony. And I appreciate it. Thank you to Allah. I'm very glad to be here with you.
The Minister of National Education and Vocational Education, Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, also participated yesterday in the occasion of honoring the top of the general, vocational, and technical high school for the academic year 2020-2021 for students residing in Mulud in Dakhil. Upon the minister's arrival, the minister was warmly received by the officials of the primary and secondary educational institutions in the Mulud district. During this visit, the minister was accompanied by the Secretary of State in charge of decentralization, Mr. Ghasim Harun Ali. It is worth mentioning that the success rate in the general secondary certificate for students in the Mulud district reached 74%, which did not make it possible for this district to win the opportunity to build a secondary school in this district. At the end of the official's speeches, the Minister of Decentralization, Mr. Ghasim Harun, who immediately congratulated the Mulud illiterates who have distinguished themselves by their work, declared that the next year students from the regions would take the back exams at home and would not need to travel to the capital. This good news triggered a thunder of applause from the villagers whose faces were filled with relief. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Education confirmed the good news, triggering popular jubilation at the moment. We understood that by confirming this announcement of his colleagues, the Minister of National Education had just removed the thrones from the feet of parents in the interior regions. Moving on to the Minister of Communication in charge of Posts and Telecommunications, His Excellency Mr. Radwan Abdullahi Bahdon, who took part today in a meeting with the World Bank financial partner of the project Djibouti Digital. The meeting, which focused on the progress of the Digital Djibouti project, was attended by the Minister of Digital Economy and Innovation, Mrs. Mariam Hamadou Ali, the resident representative of the World Bank in Djibouti, Mr. Bokar, and his team, as well as the team of the Project Management Unit. It should be noted that the Republic of Djibouti aims on the new information technologies and communication to initiate a development on all levels. It is in this sense that the Minister of Communication in charge of Posts and Telecommunications has initiated with the support of the World Bank a new project entitled Digital Djibouti, which is fully in line with the strategic programs determined in the government roadmap. This project will strengthen the Djibouti position as a technological hub in East Africa by putting in place the necessary foundations to simulate a diversified, dynamic, secure, and inclusive digital ceremony. This project aims to help the country to exploit its digital potential and is composed of two main axes with several strategic activities. It is composed of two axes, the first entitled Digital Ecosystem and Connectivity, which will improve the digital connectivity available in all particular for public administrations and the Djiboutian education system, while the other axis, which aims digital transformation in skills, it aims to strengthen the digital skills of citizens and staffs of public entities, as well as the creation of all Djiboutian digital entrepreneurial ecosystem. The estimated budget for this project is about $10 million of funds, which is a conditional loan from the International Development Associations, which also called as IDA, repayable over 10 years. Let us recall that during the global and African summits devoted to the digital, the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, has constantly reiterated the commitment of Djibouti to make the digital catalyst for development of our communities and improving the lives of our people. It is a duty, a responsibility for all of us, leaders, to encourage our youth by building an ecosystem capable of bringing out our talents and propel them in the global competition so that they become the leaders of tomorrow, he said at the virtual summit Smart Africa of the African Union. Moving on to the Ministry of Energy in charge of Natural Resources, Mr. Yunus Ali Gede received this Monday morning in his office the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany in Djibouti, Mr. Mikkel, in his office. This meeting constituted an opportunity for the two parties to discuss ways and means of strengthening the existing relations between the two countries. The Minister of Energy discussed with the German ambassador about the ambitious energy program of his ministry in accordance with the objectives and vision of 2035 for development, which was set by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, with the aim of achieving the exploitation of renewable energy in all fields. The German also included the support the ambitious energy program in Djibouti. The German ambassador pledged to support renewable energy projects in Djibouti with the German Agency for the International Cooperation. On a Monday morning, the People's Palace hosted the second meeting of the Community for Statistical Programs and Methodology, which was organized by the National Institute of Statistics in Djibouti. This high-level meeting aims to prepare the third census of the population of Djibouti, and more precisely in the preparatory phase for the general population and housing census, where the main objective is to ensure the general census of the population. This process requires not only mobilizing the resource and material, but also educating the population about the importance of these statistical measures. During this meeting, the demographic expert gave a presentation on the importance of this process and how to implement the procedures to be followed. In addition, he noted that the census is a large-scale national process aimed at providing data related to the demographic, social, and economic characteristics of the population. He explained that this dynamic will allow for a better study of people's issues in the development, formulation, and implementation of development policies and programs in the country. It should be noted that this workshop was reinforced with the participation of cards from various ministries concerned directly and indirectly with the issue. In a speech by the Director General of the National Institute of Statistics in Djibouti, he welcomed its opening to all the attendants, pointing to the importance of the meeting, which aims to determine the general census of the citizens. As you know, we did not discuss much about the programs of the various ministers and organizations during the work of the last meeting, he said, which was held on the 13th of last June. So today, our meeting, after the postponement of our upcoming meeting on the 14th of this month, so that the concerned authorities can study the subject as required in order to determine the statistical programs and activities on the level of each ministry, where the objectives of the meeting are to define and present the general census of citizens, which will include all the steps, the methodological approach, the budget, and the detailed timetable, where the national activities will be clear and important. Moving on to Italy, in the international scene, overwhelmed by the scale of the fires ravaging part of Sardinia, Italy asked for help from its neighbors on Sunday, July 25th. 7,500 men, 730 Italian helicopters, were already engaged on the ground before the French and Greek equipment reached them. By this, our beloved viewers, we conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a lovely night. Thank you.